Hey, what's up guys? We're coming at you with another Weiss Schwarz deck profile, and today we're doing a profile that asks the question, what happens if you mix a cute cat girl with a cool rock and roll girl? You get the subunit Asterisk from Idolm Cinderella Girls. And guys, please feel free to check out the channel and subscribe for more awesome content. And remembering guys that this is a Japanese deck profile, so unfortunately this deck is not buildable in English, because we do play cards from a second set which doesn't exist in English. But if you guys want to, you guys can go check out my Silica and Nico deck profiles. Whilst they are in Japanese, you can build those decks 100% in English. So without any further ado, let us get into the profile. First off, we have 3 copies of Miku Accepting Challenge. This is a level 0 reverser that from the trial deck, and also has the effect where you can rest 2 characters to give her 2k power until the end of the turn. There is a level 0 reverser from second set, Maekawa, which goes to stock if your opponent plays a Climax, which is probably better because it builds you stock, but this deck I'm trying to keep as pure Miku and Riina as possible, so we obviously play the Miku reverser. Next up, we have 3 copies of Miku, the best team. So this card is when it comes from hand to field. You can discard a Climax from your hand to salvage a music character. Very, very good effect, considering our grade 3 is able of salvaging her own Climax. Her other effect is when she attacks and your opponent cancels her attack, you can send her to stock. I don't see that happening a lot, but because based on past experience, but of course this is Weiss Schwarz, it is a luck-based game, and even if you do pull it off, it is really cool. Getting that one stock is really handy, but sometimes you want it in your deck more. So next up we have 3 copies of our Brainstormer, which is Riina Tada. She is a generic pay 1 mill 4 rest 2 Brainstormer where we search for every Climax we reveal. Then in our opponent's turn, the character in our front row center slot does gain an extra 1000 power, so very good there. It's also one of the main cards we play in our back row for most of the game. Next up, we have 3 copies of our first yellow card, which is Natsuki Kimura, and I say yellow, but she's only yellow some of the time, which she is a Climax combo with Stock Soul and our Pants, that when she's in Waiting Room, she becomes the red and the blue. That sounds really confusing, but it's best to explain it when we hit to our grade 3. Her other effect is when she is sent from stage to Waiting Room, we may pay 1 stock, clock 1 card from the top of our deck, and discard a card from our hand to check up the top 6 cards from our deck, add 1 red character and 1 blue character. Because of how she combos with our grade 3, we need to play 3 copies, and I'll explain that more once we get to our grade 3. Next up, we have 2 copies of Nana Abe. So Nana Abe is a joke card, obviously. This is 317 power because the joke is she is forever 17. She does lose 1 level on stage, so any effect that does pump her power based on level will reduce her power by 1 times whatever it is. Then, of course, if she is reversed, the top card of your stock comes out and she goes in. Very funny card because it's 317, a decent beta, and a lot of people find this very weird to beat over, or they just find it strange. So it's nice playing for memes. Next up, we have 2 copies of our restrictionless card, which is the Ricky, which is Media. So since she's played from hand to stage, we pay 1, we clock 1 card, we get to check the top. We get to search our deck for a level 1 or lower music character, add it to our hand, and then when she attacks, we can pump one of our other characters 500. We don't play Komei because, like I mentioned, our grade 3 can get her own Climax. Rin, half our deck is yellow and red anyway, so we can't even get half our deck. And of course, restand Rin, we don't restand, so not much point there. And then we play 2 copies of Rin First Step. When she attacks, we check the top card of our deck. If it's a music, we add it to our hand, discard 1, and then when she goes to Waiting Room, we scry 1 from the top of our deck. Pretty cool. Next up, we have 2 copies of level 1 Riina Asterisk, or Asterisk Riina. So this is the other main part of our back row. It is a global 500 support to all our music, and then Climax combo with our Stock Soul. We check the top 3 cards of our deck and arrange them in any order we want. Very, very good card. Next up, we have 2 copies of Riina as group of 14. So if we have 3 or more other music characters, she gains 1000 power. So there is a card from the second set you can play instead of this if you guys want, which is the best team, Riina, the best team. So she can't side attack, and if you have 2 other red and 2 other blue characters, she gains 15 power. So our back row is always the 2 blue cards, so we do have to play more 1-0 reds, but I much prefer meeting that condition to only play our grade 2 at grade 1. So it's up to you guys if you want to play this. I much prefer running this card, although I like the artwork on this card a bit better. But it's up to you in the end, guys, what you want to play. Next up, we have 3 copies of Miku Cheering. So this is the first card that combos with our Gate Climax, And she has her own effect, of course. Whenever another music attacks, she gains 1000 power. Then Climax combo with our gate trigger. If you have a yellow and a blue character on stage, she gains the effect of becoming a cost 1 or less reverser until the end of your turn. If it was the end of your opponent's turn, it would definitely be worth specifically splashing a lot more yellow just to build around. Unfortunately, it's not the case, but we mostly play it because it is potentially a 106k. You can, of course, play the TD Vanilla Miku 5/5 if you want to, but obviously I much prefer this. But in the end, guys, it's up to you. Next up, we have 2 copies of the 1-0 level 1 reverser Kaneko Meister, very straightforward, generic level 1 reverser. And then finally at level 1 we play 1 copy of the Sai 102k counter. Next up, moving on to grade 2, we have 1 copy of Miku R Lyrics and 3 copy of Riina R Lyrics. So it's worth noting that these cards do work well together, as that's why I'm showing you them together. So Miku's effect is when she's placed from hand to stage, discard any card you want from your hand to take a Riina R Lyrics from your waiting room and add it back to your hand. The other effect is if you have Riina R Lyrics and Miku R Lyrics on field, you may pay 1, send 1 of each to memory, call your grade 3 from the waiting room. Pretty cool. Riina R Lyrics effect is also if you have 2 red, 2 blue characters, she gets -1 level on your hand, so she becomes a 118k. Pretty strong, especially given that in your opponent's turn, if she's in the center, she's going to be a 2195 because of your back row. And that's why we play a lot more red 1-0s than blue 1-0s, just to make this combo a lot easier to get out. Because even if they beat over it, you still have the 2k counter. Next up, we have 1 copy of the level 2 Riina level assist. So it is a generic level assist, obviously, so 500 times level to everything in front. She has a Climax combo with the gate trigger, one that goes on. If you have a yellow and a red character, you can choose 2 of your opponent's characters, stand them, and exchange them. It's actually a pretty decent effect, and we do actually run some yellow in this comp. You can actually pull this off. As well as that, the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can move 1 of your characters in the front row to an open slot you have facing another opponent's character, which works really well for our grade 3. The only problem with its Climax combo is you're playing this at level 2 and we're playing Miku as the finisher, so chances are we're just going to drop over instead of one that goes on, which is the main reason why you're probably not going to pull this off, which is a bit of a shame, but you're obviously building around one that goes on if you want to play one that goes on, like for all these Climax combos. And unfortunately the Miku finisher doesn't work too well for one that goes on, which is a bit of a shame. Next up, we play 1 copy of the 2-1 Mayu anti-change counter. It's basically a 2-5 counter that also has pay 2, sack 1 anti-change opponent's character, which is, if you don't know what anti-change is, you pick a character that is on their field which is a higher level than they are, and then you can kill it, basically. Next up, we have 1 copy of the 2-3 event counter, which is the unfitting pair. This is the only non-Climax card that has Miku and Riina on it together, which is the main reason why I want to play it. It also has the effect, if you have 2 red, 2 blue characters, you can rest 1 of your opponent's stand characters. So, I mean, this is an Asterisk deck, and it's got them on it, so I feel like I need to play it at 1. Moving on to our grade 3s now, we have 4 copies of the grade 3 Miku. So when she's placed from hand to stage, or by the effect of the 2-1 Miku, you can add up to 1 copy of the Climax, her Climax, from your waiting room to your hand. And if you add up to 1, she gains 1000 power. Really cool effect. The other effect is the Climax combo. On attack, pay 1, mill 2. If you hit a red character, you burn your opponent for 1 damage. And if you hit a blue, she gains 2000 power, and the following effect. The character facing her loses 1 soul, and that effect stays until the end of your opponent's turn. Now, this card, of course, works really well with the Nutski, because if Nutski gets milled by Miku's effect due to timing, she does count as the red and the blue, and you instantly get both effects. So very, very cool effect right there. So finally, at grade 3, we play 3 copies of My Rock Riina. She is a healer. She's a level 3 healer. She has a Climax combo with the pants trigger, that when she front attacks, if this is in your waiting room, believe it or not. So I'm not sure if that's unique to Riina, or if there are other cards that have Climax combos in waiting room. You can check the top 2 cards of your deck, leave either of them at top, or put either of them in the waiting room. Now, you're not really going to rely on this too much. I mean, the best finishing play, obviously, is to drop 3 Miku and hope for the best. Obviously, Riina works well because it can kind of guarantee your second Miku, so you'll drop 2 Miku and 1 Riina. You'll guarantee the first Miku with your Asterisk Riina back row. Then the second attack will be with Riina, so you'll check top 2, you'll rearrange, or you'll mill, and you'll guarantee at least the blue or the red for Miku. You probably want to guarantee the red most of the time so you can burn the 1. Sometimes you want to hit the blue. But in the end, like I said, it's better to drop 3 Miku, but it is a healer and it's nice to have. That's why I play 3 copies of it. And the fact that it's Climax combo in Waiting Room makes it a lot more, like, makes it easier to pull off. So now we're moving on to the Climax spread. We play 4 copies of Over, obviously, main Over, which is our Stock Soul. Pretty straightforward. You need to play 4 copies. I was playing 3 and I actually didn't get it, despite the fact that I'm running a Pants trigger and Miku can get her own Climax. I still didn't get it. And of course, like if you stock charge 1 Over really early in the game, you've still got 3 left in your deck, so you don't have to worry too much about paying it out. But you want to try and get it out, obviously, but it doesn't matter too much if you don't get 1 of them out, because you still have 3 in your deck and you have lots of ways to get it, which is perfectly fine. Next up, we do play 2 copies of Over Heartbeat version. So this is our Pants trigger, and it is one of the alternate versions of their song together, Over. Now there is, I think, at least 4 versions, at least for Asterisk. There's this Heartbeat version, there's the regular version, and then Miku and Riina do each have their own unique version of Over, which is pretty cool. As that's where the lyrics thing comes from, as in the anime, or I think it's happened in real life, I'm not 100% sure, but I know at least in the anime context, Miku and Riina did write the lyrics to their own song, and they couldn't agree. So they did eventually find one in the end, but there's a Miku version, there's a Riina version, there's Heartbeat version, and then there's the original version, so it's pretty cool. And Pants trigger, obviously, because it combos with Riina, and it helps us get over to our hand a lot easier. I mean, obviously, you could play the Minami combo if you wanted to, which I think most people do, but, I mean, then it's not really Asterisk, is it? Next up, we have 2 copies of Wonder Goes On, because it's a gate trigger, so we can salvage. And, of course, it does have Miku, Riina, Natsuki, and Nana, the 4 main characters that we do focus the deck around. No, it's very cool. And you can potentially pull off the Climax combos. It's not always going to happen, but, I mean, it's there. So, of course, gate triggers are really good for us because we can salvage characters. You can get Miku to our hand, and we can either get the grade 3 Miku or the level 0 Miku. It's up to us, and we can do that really cool combo where we start with either Over and the grade 0 Miku in the hand, play the Miku, discard Over, get the level 3, play the level 3, and then get the Climax back, or, really cool effect right there. Or play Miku, get the level 3, get the Climax, call the grade 0, discard the Climax, get another grade 3 Miku, call the grade 3 Miku, get the Climax again. Really cool effect right there. So let's get to, now that we're going to finish up, I want to talk about some of the cards that you can potentially run in the deck as well if you really wanted to. So we have the Wonder Goes On Nana. So when she's placed from hand to stage, you can pick one of your other characters that gains 1,000 power for every Wonder Goes On in your waiting room. It's actually decent. You could easily splash it in the deck if you wanted to. But the problem is I prefer the 317 Nana over this, because this is kind of more situational, as you do need Wonder Goes On in waiting room. But it's a lot more splashable than this card. So this card is the Natsuki combo with Wonder Goes On. So it gives 500 in front. And then when Wonder Goes On is placed, if you have a red and a blue character, which is actually easier to pull off than you would think, you can give one of your characters 2k power. But obviously the other back row cards you have for the deck are a lot better than this, so you probably don't want to run it. Then of course we have the optional replacement for the grade 2 Riina level assist, which is the level 2 Miku grade 3 assist. So when she's placed from hand to stage, you check the top card of your deck. If it's a cost 0, cost 1 or it's a level 1 or higher, you can stock charge it, and then it gives all grade 3s in front 2k. Obviously we play the level assist because it helps out with giving power to more of our deck, and we do have the run effect, and if we pull it off, we do have the Climax combo. Of course, it's also worth noting Miku has a +2 soul, which is adorable. You can run it if you want. I don't, because for consistency reasons. But if you're building like a pure Miku deck, which I have tried, you definitely want to run this card, because the Climax combo is with a 1-0 that calls a grade 0 to stage. I did run it in my original build just when we had set 1, so if you guys want to, you can build it if you use it if you want a set 1 build. But anyway guys, that is my deck profile for Asterisk. If you guys again would like to see it take on my Ronko deck, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, and feel free to check out my other Weiss Schwarz videos as well, and I'll catch you guys for my next video.